So basically, for y'all that don't know, Elon Musk went on an interview in the Daily Wire where he talks about his son, his trans daughter, who died. Right? He's talking about losing a child and basically saying that he used to have a son who died. And in this interview, he basically rips apart his daughter and talks about how he was tricked into giving her HRT. And basically, he explains the story of
children to take permanent actions when they're 10, 12, 14 years old. They will do things that they subsequently greatly regret.
Yes, I've interviewed a couple of people who've done exactly that, and it's
right.
damn painful.
Oh yeah, that's what we need. A Jordan Peterson interview with Elon Musk on the Daily Wire show. That's what we needed.
So, so I think you doing.
Why are you willing to make this an issue? Do you think? I mean,
well,
it's sort of like the nameless issue.
It happened to one of my older boys, where I was essentially tricked into signing documents for one of my older boys, Xavier. This is before I had really any understanding of what was going on, and we had COVID going on, and so there was a lot of confusion. I was told, oh, Xavier might commit suicide if he.
That was a lie right from the outset. No reliable clinician ever believed.
First of all, that is not a lie, by the way. Trans people are some of the most oppressed people in society. They have very high rates of suicide. But you know what, shuts that shit down immediately? Do you know what lowers the suicide rate for trans people? It just pretty much immediately out of the box. It's acceptance from their parents. So there's a very easy way to actually just not deal with that, to not deal with suicidal ideation.
That there was never any evidence for that. And also, if there's a higher suicide rate, the reason is because of the underlying depression and anxiety, and not.
Jordan Peterson, to quote him, says, there's no studies that says trans people kill themselves. But if there was, it's not because of the gender ideology.
Because of the gender dysphoria. And every goddamn clinician knows that too. And they're too cowardly to come out and say it. Right? And so and then we end up in exactly, when I saw that lie start to propagate, it just made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. It's like, I see. So you're telling parents that unless they agree to this radical transformation that their children are going to die, and you think that's moral, and you think that's true. That is so pathological.
Jordan Peterson's daughter went on a vacation with Andrew Tate where they ended up dating for a very long time. If I'm taking parenting advice from anyone, I'm not taking it from the dad whose daughter was dating Andrew Tate.
Logical that it's almost incomprehensible. I can't imagine anything worse. I can't imagine a therapist doing anything worse than that, or sitting by idly and remaining silent while his colleagues are doing it. It's pathetic.
It's incredibly evil, and I agree with you that people that have been promoting this should go to prison.
It won't stop.
That's a take you want to hear from somebody. The people promoting this should go to prison.
Stop till that happens.
Yeah.
It'll just go underground. Puberty blockers are being accessed online by kids all the time through non-medical channels. So yeah, right. It's not going to stop. Yeah. Okay, so I see. So that's.
So I was tricked into doing this, and it wasn't explained to me that puberty blockers are actually just sterilization drugs.
They're not, by the way. Sometimes that can happen, but they are not just sterilization drugs. That's not how that works. That can happen sometimes, but that's not how that works.
Anyway, and so
hormone blockers are not the same as some of the more extreme versions of HRT. No, this is not. He is conflating a bunch of different things with puberty blockers. Don't do that. Basically, puberty blockers don't do that.
I lost my son essentially. So they.
Oh wait, let me play that again.
So I lost my son essentially. They call it dead naming for a reason.
Yeah.
All right. So the reason it's called dead naming is because your son is dead.
So he comes on to this broadcast and he's like, "My son died." Basically, that's why they call it dead naming.
So my son Xavier is dead, killed by the woke mind virus.
He said his son was killed by the woke mind virus.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what that would be like.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and there's lots of people in that situation now.
Right.
It's not pretty, and lots of demolished kids.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's a good reason to be the final straw. All right, so let's.
So I vowed to destroy the woke mind virus after that. If we allow.
And that's his motivation for buying X, Twitter. We're gonna dead name X a little bit, but yeah, no. So that's his motivation for buying Twitter, because he believes Twitter is the reason that his daughter became trans. So basically after this, Elon Musk's daughter Vivian, who is very much alive, goes live on Instagram and basically is starting to give her side of the story, because she's like, fuck this guy. By the way, if you don't know, Vivian hates her dad. Vivian hates her dad. She's not, a huge fan of Elon Musk, and she uses Threads exclusively because she just hates Elon Musk that much that she won't use X, the platform. And so basically she goes live and says, there's some things that, I'm going to say, I'm giving interviews, and y'all need to hear this, basically.
It is Vivian Jenna Wilson. I'm just going to come on here and say that I'm doing well. I'm doing fine, actually. And I am formulating a response and whatnot. It's being worked on. It's being worked on. Just hold your goddamn horses for 5 more seconds, okay? I promise it's getting worked on. It is Vivian Jenna Wilson.
So Gays Against Groomers, basically, they quoted that video, right? And they played the video on theirs, and I'm not going to read their stuff because their stuff is shit. But he responds to Gays Against Groomers with, Xavier was born gay and slightly autistic, 2 attributes that contribute to gender dysphoria. I knew that from when he was about 4 years old, and he would pick out clothes for me to wear, like a jacket, and tell me it was fabulous, as well as his love of musicals and theater. But he was not a girl. So basically, like, he just called his son an F slur. He was like, my son was an F slur. He was gay. He wasn't trans. Like, he was just an F slur. Like, this is, I mean, he literally said fabulous in here. Like, what do you think is going on here? So he says that, and Vivian basically goes on Threads, screenshots it, and says, there's a lot of stuff that I need to debunk, which I will get to, don't worry, but I want to start with what I find the funniest, which is the notorious slightly autistic tweet. This is going to be a bit, so y'all just bear with me. So Vivian responds in whole to what Elon Musk has said here. She says, this is entirely fake. Like, literally none of this ever happened. Ever. I don't even know where he got this from. My best guess is that he went to Milo Yiannopoulos School of Gay Stereotypes, just picked some at random and said, good enough, in a last-ditch attempt to garner sympathy points when he's so obviously in the wrong, even his own fucking story. I did not have a love of musical and theater when I was 4, basically, because I was fucking 4, and I didn't know these things were. I didn't know what these things were. My earliest real experience with music was when my twin brother had a Hamilton phase in the 8th and 9th grade and overplayed it so much in the car to the point for a long time I swore off the entire genre. So first thing she opens with is, I don't like theaters. I don't know what this motherfucker is talking about, but she is not a fan of theaters, and she's explaining that she never really liked them at all. Her brother did. She keeps on going to say, I never picked out jackets for him to wear, and I was most certainly not calling them fabulous, because literally, what the fuck? I did not use the word fabulous when I was 4, because once again, I was 4. Once again, I would like to reiterate, I was 4. Like, this is so obvious, I don't even think it warrants an explanation, but apparently people believe this nonsense, so here I am. This entire thing is completely made up, and there's a reason for this. He doesn't know what I was like when I was a child because he wasn't there. And in the little time that he was, I was relentlessly harassed for my femininity and queerness. Obviously, he can't say that, so I've been reduced to a happy little stereotype FAGing along to use at his own discretion. I think that says a lot about how he views queer people and children in general. No, literally comes out with banging, shooting, wanting to own her dad, which again, incredible, and just incredible. I mean, like, she's like, yeah, he's a liar. He experienced none of this. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I was 4. What the fuck is going on? And then she follows up with, as for if I'm not a woman, sure, Jan, whatever you say. I'm legally recognized as a woman in the state of California, and I don't concern myself with the opinions of those who are below me. Obviously, Elon can't say the same because in a ketamine-fueled haze, he's desperate for attention and validation from an army of degenerate, red-pilled incels and pick-me's who are quick to give to him. Go touch some fucking grass. How old is Vivian? She's 20. And then, so somebody responds, and she's responding to people in the comments, extremely shocked to hear what a D-bag, that this D-bag is a liar. Hopefully you're not too bothered by what he says about you. And she says, I'm not. I'm just starting to find it funny at this point. Calling me dead on a podcast with Jordan Peterson of all people while basically admitting you have zero reading comprehension by saying you were tricked into signing documents that you read over multiple times is basically a parody of itself. Like, honestly, it's camp. No, she's like just cooking him in the goddamn comments. Like, and so that's basically what her response was on Threads. But don't you worry, it gets worse. She gave an interview. Elon Musk's transgender daughter in first interview says he berated her for being queer as a child. So she has been going basically on a tour now to different news sites. So NBC, this one I think is CNN, right? She's basically been going on a tour, shitting on her father, saying that he was never there. He's in a ketamine-fueled rage. He basically is telling everybody that she's dead. She's not dead. She's very much alive. and that he's a fucking idiot. That he's a fucking idiot. He was never there for their childhood. He has no fucking clue what his daughter was like because he was never there. Right? To the point, like, basically denying everything that he made up. There was never a situation where she was showing him jackets. There was never a situation where she was, like, playing, like, theater music, right? He was into theaters. And basically, she just came out saying that he called her the F slur in, like, a different, you know, set of words. If Elon ruins Ket, I'm gonna be mad. Yeah. So she said, in an exclusive interview, Vivian Jenna Wilson said that her father's recent statements, including that she is not a girl, inspired her to speak out. I'm just not going to let that slide. Vivian Jenna Wilson, the transgender daughter of Elon Musk, said Thursday in her first interview that he was an absent father who was cruel to her as a child for being queer and feminine. Wilson, 20, in an interview with NBC News, responded to comments Musk made Monday about her and her transgender identity. On social media and in an interview posted online, Musk said she was not a girl and was figuratively dead, and he alleged that he'd been tricked into authorizing trans medical treatment for her when she was 16. Wilson said that Musk hadn't been tricked and that after initially having hesitated, he knew what he was doing when he agreed to her treatment, which required consent from her parents. Musk's recent statements crossed the line, she said. I think because he was under the impression that I wasn't going to say anything and I would let this go unchallenged, Wilson said in a phone interview, which I'm not going to do because if you're going to lie about me like blatantly to an audience of millions, I'm just not going to let that slide. Wilson said that for as long as she could remember, Musk hasn't been a supportive father. She said he's rarely been present in her life, leaving her and her siblings to be cared for by their mother or by nannies, even though Elon Musk had joint custody. She said Musk berated her when he was present. He was cold, she said, very quick to anger, very uncaring, and very narcissistic. Wilson said that when she was a child, Musk would harass her for exhibiting feminine traits and pressure her to appear more masculine, including by pushing her to deepen her voice as early as elementary school. I was in 4th grade. We went on a road trip, and I didn't know what I didn't know was actually just an advertisement for one of their cars. I don't remember which one, and he was constantly yelling at me viciously because my voice was too high, she said. It was cruel. Musk didn't respond to a request for comment. Wilson and her twin brother were born to Musk's first wife, author Justine Musk. The couple divorced in 2008, and Wilson said her parents shared custody between their homes in the Los Angeles area. Musk, 53, is among the wealthiest people in the world through his stakes in Tesla, where he's the CEO, and in SpaceX, which he founded. He's also become a significant political figure, having endorsed former President Donald Trump this month for another term in the White House. Musk has 12 children, including Wilson. First of all, use the butt, Elon. What the fuck is wrong with you? Stop coming. Now a college student studying languages, Wilson has never granted an interview before and has largely stayed out of the public view. She did, however, attract attention in 2022 when she sought court approval in California to change her name and in the process denounced her father. I no longer live or wish to be related to my biological father in any way, shape, or form, she said in the court filing. She told NBC News at the time she was surprised by the media attention to the court filing, which she submitted when she was 18. She said in the interview that she stands by what she wrote, though she says she might have tried to be more eloquent had she known the coverage it would get. Wilson said that she hasn't spoken to Musk in about 4 years and that she refused to be defined by him. I would like to emphasize one thing. I am an adult. I am 20 years old. I am not a child. She said, my life should be defined by my own choices, which first of all, just incredible. I mean, she's going after the richest man in the world, who is also her father. Just insane amounts of, honestly, just like brashness and confidence and just fucking, like, you know, assholery in general. Like, she is a hater. This is crazy. To hate your dad this much. Like, I mean, I love her for it. I hate her dad that much too. Musk threw spotlight on Wilson on Monday by speaking about their relationship in a video interview with a psychologist. Wait, let me read that again. Musk threw a spotlight on Wilson on Monday by speaking about their relationship in a video with psychologist and conservative commentator Jordan Peterson, streamed live on X, saying he didn't support Wilson's gender identity. I feel like calling Jordan Peterson a psychologist is a reach, by the way. I don't think that they should have called him a psychologist. I lost my son, essentially, Musk said, using Wilson's birth name, also known as a dead name for transgender people, and said that she was dead, killed by the woke mind virus. And in a post on X, Musk said Monday that Wilson was born gay and slightly autistic, and that at age 4, she could fit certain gay stereotypes, such as loving musical and using the exclamation, fabulous. He wanted to call her an F-slur so bad, bro. This is crazy to me, actually, to describe certain clothing. Wilson told NBC News that the anecdotes aren't true, though she said that she did act stereotypically in feminine in other ways as a child. Wait, where am I at? Dude, right here, okay. Wilson addressed that Musk's recent comments in a series of posts Thursday on the streaming app Threads. Social media app Threads, sorry, my bad. He doesn't know what I was like as a child because he simply wasn't there, she wrote. And in the little time that he was, I was relentlessly harassed for my femininity and queerness. I've been reduced to a happy little stereotype, she continued. I think that says a lot about how he views queer people and women or children in general, sorry. In recent years, Musk has hard right turned into conservative politics and has been waging a campaign against transgender people and policies designed to support them. This month, he was said he was pulling his business out of California to protest a new state law that bars schools from requiring that trans kids be outed to their parents. On X, Musk said that he had for years criticized transgender rights, including medical treatments for trans-identifying minors and the use of pronouns if they are different from what would be used at birth. He is promoting anti-trans content and has called for arresting people who provide trans care to minors. Let's see. I just want to skip this part. I'm going to skip to the part where she talks more about her mother. Wilson said, okay, wait. Oh, God, it's just like all of it. Wilson said that she also mentioned in a biography of Musk by author Walter Isaacson, a book that she told NBC News was inaccurate and unfair to her. The book refers to her politics as radical Marxism, quoting Musk's sister-in-law, Christiana Musk. But Wilson said that she's not a Marxist, though. She does oppose wealth inequality. The book also calls her by her middle name, Jenna. So she did say that she opposes wealth inequality when her dad is literally Elon Musk. I mean, I hate to say it, but like, I am very pro not charging children with the crimes of their parents, but I do believe that if your parents are like wild capitalists, you should do this. I think this is important for you to do if you are a child that is born to a family like this. Obviously, you cannot change where you were born, but you can change what you say about the conditions of your birth. And she does. Williams said Isaacson never reached out to her despite directly ahead of publication. In a phone interview Thursday, Isaacson said he had reached out to Wilson through family members. Christiana Musk did not immediately respond to requests for comments on Thursday. Wilson told NBC News that for years she had considered speaking out about Musk's behavior and as a parent and as a person, but she can no longer remain silent about his comments on Monday. She says she had never received an explanation on why her father spent so little time with her and her siblings' behavior now that she views as strange. He was there, I want to say, maybe 10% of the time. That's generous, she said. He had half custody and he was fully not there. It was a fact of the life at the time, so I don't think I realized just how abnormal of an experience it was, she added. Let's see. Wilson said she came out twice in life, once as gay in the 8th grade, and second time as transgender when she was 16. She said that she didn't recall Musk's response at the first time. She said that she wasn't present when Musk heard from others that she was transgender, because by then the pandemic had started and she was living full-time with her mother. She's very supportive. I love her a lot, Wilson said about her mom. The pandemic was a chance to escape Musk cruelty, she said. She said when COVID hit, I was like, I'm not going over there, she said. It was basically very lucky timing. Musk told Peterson in the interview that he had been tricked into signing documents authorizing the transgender-related medical treatment for Wilson, an allegation Wilson said just isn't true. I was essentially tricked into signing documents for one of my older boys, Musk said, using her birth name. This was before I really had an understanding of what was going on. Y'all saw this? Wilson said in 2020, when she was still a minor at 16, she wanted to start treatment for a severe gender dysphoria, but she needed the consent of both parents under California law. She said that her mother was supportive, but Musk initially wasn't. She had texted him about it for a while. I was trying to do this for months, but he said I had to go meet him in person, she said. At that point, it was very clear we had a very distinct disdain for each other. When she eventually went and gave him the medical forms, she said he read them at least twice, once with her and then once again on his own before he signed them. He was not by any means tricked. He knew the full side effects. She then took puberty blockers before she switched to hormone replacement therapy. By the way, it's important to know that these things are different. So when Elon Musk said that that the meds were going to sterilize his son, right? Puberty blockers are not the same thing, and that is not the same thing that he signed off on, right? So that's number one. These are not the same thing as sterilization drugs. Puberty blockers can be reversed. Treatment that she said were life-saving for her and other transgender people. They save lives. Let's not get that twisted, she said. They're definitely allowed me to thrive. She said that she believed the requirements to obtain such treatments through to remain onerous with remain onerous with teenagers pressured to say that extreme risks. Wait, she said she believed that the requirements to obtain such treatments remain onerous, with teenagers pressured to say that there are extreme risk of self-harm before they'll be approved. She said that she felt judged by Musk and Peterson in the Monday interview for not being at a high enough risk in their eyes. This is something that a lot of transgender people say. I've heard from a lot of trans friends, which is that some of them didn't feel completely suicidal at the time, but they had to say they were suicidal in order to get their hands on the life-saving drugs. Obviously, there is a level of puberty that you have to deal with, right? Puberty, which takes place in your life and changes, different parts about your body. A lot of minors wish to avoid that, right? Avoid going through puberty because of what puberty does to your body, right? And so a lot of the times they have to say that they are suicidal or say a lot of these different things to get their hands on these drugs to pre-puberty to halt their, halt that process, right? And some people are suicidal. So not to downplay the people that are suicidal, but Vivian was one of the people that had to say she was a little bit more at risk to get her hands on the hormone replacement therapy. I basically been put into a point where to a group of people, I basically have to prove whether or not I was suicidal enough to warrant medically transitioning. She said, it's absolutely mind-boggling. It's insane. Yeah, there's a lot of things you need to say to conform to how trans people are expected to be like to get access to healthcare. Yeah, it's insane. And obviously, she's talking about like very important things and very important topics. And as Elon Musk's daughter, I mean, like she is like a very important mouthpiece on this. So I am very proud of her. I'm very happy that she is speaking out against Musk, her dad, saying that he's a piece of shit, brain dead, and also in a ketamine-fueled rage. I think that it really puts into perspective a lot of the things that he's saying, a lot of the things that he's done, and it validates a lot of trans people around the world, especially like, you know, that don't have the means to transition the way that she did. You know, obviously, a lot of trans people don't have supportive parents, but not every, you know, child has a parent that's literally buying Twitter and, you know, going on these crazy rants, like in front of billions of people, basically saying that being trans doesn't exist, right? She is going through one of the most fucked up situations that you can go through as a trans person, and having her transition completely like filmed, monetized, and put on TV. It's insane. But, you know, I appreciate her bravery, and I imagine this will, you know, be a lot for a lot of people that are involved with this.